Hi, fellow seekers. I'm Ryan, and this is RNS Ministries Developing His Worldview, Season 1, Episode 3. And today we're going to talk about political party platforms. Now, the problem with politics is that everyone has their opinions, and those opinions are often quite strong. And it doesn't take long for an argument to get stirred up. But here's the thing. When was the last time you ever heard someone discuss the various political parties and whether or not they're biblical? Probably not very often, right? Well, the issue is, and I discovered this several years back, but the issue is that each party is attempting to create a man-made utopia of heaven on earth. And each political platform has got their own version of that. Let's start with the independents. Okay, we'll kind of start on some neutral ground to kind of ease into this stuff a little bit. According to Pew Research, most independents lean towards a party, either Democrat or Republican. So, in other words, they may not agree with everything the party puts forth per se, but they lean that direction. It could also be described as moderates of each party. True independents avoid politics altogether. Now, the problem with that is that we are citizens of the American nation. It's our right to abstain from politics. It is our right to vote, right? And it is a personal choice. And to be totally honest, but Jesus did come, and when he came, he did not address Rome. When he was asked about Rome and the coins and is it lawful to pay taxes, he responded that render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto God what is God's. He didn't address Rome. He addressed the Pharisees, who are the religious leaders there. He didn't address the politics of Rome in that day. His focus was primarily on the religious leaders there. So again, with independence, it is our right to abstain from voting. It is our right to vote. The choice is ours, right? Democrats and libertarians tend to lean towards a do what makes you happy kind of philosophy that the book of Judges actually talks about. Everyone did as he saw fit. That's out of Judges 17:6 and Judges 21:25. Now, for the Christians that are in these parties, they tend to be more social justice warriors that I addressed in the last episode in season 1, episode 2, right? Some some of these folks strive for a more socialist society, equaling the divide in income differences on Democrats and libertarians. Now, the truth be told, that we've been very much more of a socialist state for the last probably 70 to 90, 75 to 90 years, and increasing as time goes on. Now, I'm going to say that, but also follow that up with this. Yes, we are still capitalist. I'm not saying that we're not, but the socialist tendencies in our country have been increasing ever since the Great Depression. The government has had an overabundance of programs put forth, like the welfare program of the 60s that LBJ put in. That's these things are things that the churches should be doing, not the government, right? And the Christians in these parties tend to be more of, hey, these programs need to exist in the government, whereas the truth be told, biblically, it is the church's job to do this, not the government. What they're trying to do is create an ideal utopian heavenly society here on earth, right? Just like the independence. Politics don't exist. You can have your opinions. I'm not going to vote, right? Republicans and constitutionalists aren't any better. Before you think I'm gonna tout this one, I'm not, because most of these folks are all about trying to legislate morality and instead of converting people to Christianity. Forced conversions were attempted a number of years ago in Europe. Several hundred years ago, and by the way, if you're not a student of history, that failed miserably. Forced conversions do not work. Those who are Christian and a party and a part of this party, that's kind of their focus, right? It's all about America. America is the best and the greatest. And if you listen closely enough, you will hear the whole America is the promised land type of talk. It may not be like come out and actually said, but you can hear it in the philosophy of these parties, right? Here's the thing. Israel is still God's chosen people, not America. America is not. America is not the promised land. That swath of land in the Middle East that God promised to Israel, that's the promised land. And that is what was promised to Israel. Now, if you really want to talk about it and talk about the promised land, the promised land is eternity, not the American nation. The nationalistic view on this side of the party goes way overboard in trying to create the perfect utopia of heaven on earth. And as a matter of fact, none of these are biblical. The only way the perfect society happens is when it is created by God, as stated in Revelation 21 1 to 4. It is not going to happen here on earth. And something that has equally gotten out of hand is the downright meanness on both sides of the party. Republicans and constitutionalists despaired when when Biden was in office the last 4 years. It's going to be the end, and it's like we're just this society is going to go to hell in a handbasket. And well, see, now the Democrats are doing it now that Trump is in office. Oh, it's the end, and I can't do this, and he can't believe he's in office again. Well, here's the thing. Not only have we delved into a realm where we tear each other down, and as Christians, that is not what we are supposed to be doing, by the way. Here, that is a stern rebuke, because it is. But not only that, there's another problem, and that is we are placing our hope, whether you want to admit it or not, you're placing your hope in the political party. Oh, we're doomed if this guy gets into office, or we're doomed if this lady gets into office. Well, guess what? No, we're not. Because God is the one who puts every leader in place. Yes, Joe Biden. Yes, Donald Trump. God puts every leader into place, and they only have authority because God says they have authority. Our hope is in Jesus Christ, not in a political party or a person. So there's two strong things that we need to consider biblically because these things are way too common, and that's on both sides of the aisle. It happens on both sides of the aisle. As Christians, we politically have to stand for biblical standards because our biblical worldview is what we need to be striving for. We cannot support things that the Bible claims are sin, such as abortion and homosexuality and promiscuity. We cannot support these things. But we also can't support something like America is the promised land type of ideology, or just downright harshness, meanness. We can't do that. When we put a forth that America is the promised land, what we're doing is literally making the nation into an idol. Now, we can abstain from voting like an independent would, and that would be okay. But it is also okay to choose a candidate who is simply qualified for the office and standing for all things biblical. Now that candidate may not be something you agree with biblically 100% across the board. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you that you're going to be probably hard pressed to find a political candidate that stands for everything you do, biblically speaking. Like you're not going to find it. Like I haven't yet. Like there's always something. There's always something that they're just, oh, that's just not biblical. But what we have to do is we have to do our homework and just simply choose the best candidate qualified for the office. We have to do the best we can. And while choosing not to vote it kind of buries our head in the sand, and we just, well, yeah, I'm just not gonna be a part of it. Well, I don't know that that's the answer either. You see, we have to do the best we can. We have to pray on these things. We have to pray on voting matters. We have to pray. We have to be informed as a voter, not relying on media, but actually doing the homework on where each candidate stands. I know it's a lot of work. Trust me, I get it. Pray and do your research. I want to remind you to hit like, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell notification down there so that you can be notified when these videos come up every Friday at noon. Thanks for joining me, Seekers, and we will see you next time on Developing His Worldview. Until then, God bless. Bye-bye.